The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie. 99 X.
The Outer Banks, paradise on earth. This is Figure 8, the rich side of the island, home of the kooks. And then this is the south side, or the cut, the natural habitat of, drumroll please, the Pogues. That's us. We do whatever we want, whenever we want.
99X, it's Barnes and Leslie. That is our guest coming on right now from his #1 Netflix show, Outer Banks. Of course, you know John B. Please welcome Chase Stokes to the show. Hey, Chase.
How's it going? Good morning.
Doing great, man. Welcome to the show, and congrats on all your success with everything going on.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, it's been quite a ride, but thankful to be here.
Yeah, Barnes and I are huge fans of Outer Banks, and I know, one more season left. I'm kind of bummed, but I want to make sure at the end, you and the Pogues have to own the whole island. I mean, come on, it has to end that way.
I mean, it feels like that's the only option, right?
Right, exactly. You're a Pogue for life.
Pogues for life. Yeah, I mean, it's always bittersweet to see something come to a close, but, I think it's important in telling stories in kind of the long-form television format that, you end it on the right note. And sometimes you can get lost in trying to tell stories for too long and you lose the audience. And I think our biggest hope is to make sure that we honor all of the people that have come along on this journey, because, we are a true testament to the power of a fan base. And, it's not how the plane takes off, it's how you land it. And we've seen a lot of shows that we've loved get a little bit lost in some of the seasons. And then you have shows like Breaking Bad that come back and just nail it. So I think that for us has always been a component of the show. It's making sure that we end it on the right note.
A lot of people that don't know and follow behind the scenes stuff don't know that you were just a regular dude from Atlanta not so long ago.
Very true.
Where did you live when you were here?
I actually lived in Cherokee County, so right up 575 on Sixes Road. I went to Woodstock Middle School, went to Sixes Elementary School. So yeah, I spent quite a bit of time up there.
How weird was that? You talk about you're just a local dude, and then all of a sudden, man, the light gets on you, fame starts attaching itself to you, and then it just spreads like wildfire. What is that like in your brain?
It's a blessing and a curse, and you start to look at life through a little bit of a different lens. I mean, you're on one side, you're super thankful because it's a byproduct of the work, and that means that whatever you're doing is connecting with people, and that's such a beautiful thing. And the show came out during a very tumultuous time in human history, in the pandemic. So to be a relief for so many people and to continue to be a source of happiness and escapism over the last now 5.5 years is one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in my life. But there's the other side of it. You can't really do a lot of things in the ways that you used to. Going to the grocery store is a little bit different now, and the ways that I like to go out to eat. You got to be a little bit more reflective about that. So again, those are problems that I'm grateful to have, because it's a byproduct of my career, and I would never ever take the latter.
We're talking to Chase Stokes. You've had a lot of success, even with Netflix, obviously, Outer Banks, the movie you did, Uglies. And tell us about now this other new movie that just dropped, Valiant One. What drew you to that? Tell us a little bit about the movie.
Yeah, I think both in Uglies and Outer Banks, these characters are very specific, and, they move the needle in the story. And, I've always been really drawn to characters with specificity. And I think the reason being is the more specific you get with your work, it seems to reach more people. When you make those choices that feel specific to you or specific to the character versus leaving it sort of bland and broad, people seem to really connect. And this was a character that felt very specific. It feels like everybody knows a form of an Edward Brockman who you kind of just wish they worked a little bit harder and put a little more effort into things. And when they do, there's a lot of success that comes behind it. And it just felt like a very unconventional military film. We have so many incredible films, from 13 Hours to Extraction to Black Hawk Down to Saving Private Ryan, that really highlight these kind of like super soldiers and these operators who have all of the bells and whistles under their belt. They're so capable. And, this was the first time that I had seen something that was like, what does the other side look like? What is the kid who's, fresh out of high school and just gone into basic and tossed onto a base somewhere very, very unbeknownst to him? And what does that look like if he's put into, a very unthinkable situation? And that's what this film was. And it really felt like, it felt very fresh. It felt very new. It felt very exciting to kind of dig my teeth into. And it's so different than John B. and even Paris and Ugly. So, I think just continuing to show the versatility of my art so that people don't, define me as John B. for the rest of my life.
Well, if there's ever an NXS docuseries, I think you'll get a call to play Michael Hutchins. I think that's an absolute.
Good call, Barnes.
I mean,
like
dude, the look
call.
and the vibe is right on it.
Put to work on the Aussie accent.
Yes. I have to embarrassingly admit something because I'll get called out afterwards if I don't. Have you ever had a top 5? Like you have your fantasy top 5 list?
Oh, I know where this is going.
I'm sure back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and admit it so you don't think I'm being crazy, but your girlfriend is on my top 5. So it's not often that I speak to the other. Kelsey Ballerini has been on there for a while. And funny story, recently I follow you both in social, and I was flipping through and I saw you posting some stuff, and I was watching your stories, and I was like, hold on. And this was on a plane. I was on the way somewhere. I was like, I think that's where I'm going. And you were at Naviva in Mexico.
Yes.
And I was on the way to Naviva. And I got there, and you guys had just left. So
Small
lucky for
world.
you. Yeah, I don't want to make you pressured with me being in the presence of a top 5er. So I'm glad that didn't work out.
Listen, I've been in the boxing gym and have 16 years of hockey fights under my belt. So I think you got an uphill battle with me, my friend.
I hear you. I would never. It's top 5
I'm just
fantasy.
kidding.
How cool was that? Staying in those luxury tents, you're right on the Pacific with whales flopping out of the water right in front of you.
Dude, I felt like I was straight out of Tarzan. What an incredible place.
I know.
I mean, the bougiest version of Tarzan,
Yes.
I should say.
Absolutely.
It was such a great trip. I mean, we did that after she had a crazy run, and I had just finished up the last season of Outer Banks, season 4. So, it was like a much needed reset, and we just had a blast. It was completely sort of spontaneous of a trip, but we made the mental note to say that is a place we'll go back to in a heartbeat.
The pressure is
Nice.
real because there's no menus. Isn't it weird? When you go eat, they're
I know.
what do you want? And you're like,
Surprise me.
lobster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
do you got over there?
Yeah, you mentioned versatility and showcasing different sides of yourself, which I think is great. And at this stage, I'm sure you're getting lots of offers. Would you consider going back and doing another television series?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's not necessarily about the form of content. It's about the content in itself. And, I've always chased great stories with great characters, and I just want to work with great people. That's kind of my little melting pot of what I want out of my career. I've really enjoyed working in the feature film space because there's a definitive start, middle, and end. And, with TV, you don't traditionally get that in, the long form content. It sort of builds on itself. So with Outer Banks, we've never had our entire season handed to us before we start. It's always gone as we go. And that, to me, can sometimes be a little daunting, to not know where your character's going to go. And
Absolutely.
I feel like I've found my footing, and I've been able to show a little bit of a different sort of more elevated range in my craft. And, not just Valiant One, but I also have, Marked Men, who was directed by Nick Cassavetes, that came out. We had a small theatrical run here in the U.S. Last week, and it was really, really fun to kind of play 2 very vastly different characters outside of John B. But I felt like I was able to really sink my teeth into these projects, and that was really gratifying. So would I venture back into TV? I think, yeah, I would. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm really loving the experience of working in the film space right now.
Well, TV's what got you there, so don't bite the hand. I mean, that's just, these days.
They're so good.
Look at the big stars that are doing television now. Harrison Ford. I mean, it's
crazy.
It's like the new It thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy time to where TV is sort of the superior platform. But again, like I said, I chase stories and I chase people to work with. So if Harrison Ford wants to do a TV series, I will never say no to, the man himself.
Well, Chase, thank you. Let's take a look at Valiant One. This is in theaters now. Chase Stokes, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chase.
Pleasure to meet you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Rockman.
Gear up. Great.
Let's focus on the mission.
Can we even call this a mission? We're gonna be on the ground for like 20 minutes.
Do you take anything seriously?
No.
We have multiple dead, multiple wounded. We need a medevac right now.
They can't get us. We're in North Korea.
Sir, respectfully, I'm trained to analyze data, not this.
Right now, you're the leader. So you gotta be that for them and for yourself. Don't let it end here.
We are going deeper into North Korea. Following a guy who has no idea what he's doing.
Almost there.
Contact drive! Go! I'll buy you some time!
Let's go home.
The Morning X with Barnes and Leslie.
9.
X.